In this dirty old part of the city where the sun refused to shine, people tell me there ain't no use in trying. Now, my girl, you're so young and pretty, and one thing I know is true: you'll be dead before your time is due. I know. Watch my daddy in bed and crying. Watch his hand been turning gray. He's been working and slaving his life away. Oh yes, I know. He's been working so hard. Oh, Mom been working too, baby. Every night and day. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We gotta get out of this place. If it's the last thing we ever do, we gotta get out of this place. Girl, there's a better life for me and you.
Three, two, one.
Hey, Timmy.
Hey, it's been a few weeks that we've been on, huh?
Hey, Happy New Year, brother.
Yeah, same to you. You know, I've got a lot going there. As you know, I've been down at the council meeting the other night, and just a lot of things going on, Sean. Okay, I thought we had our controversy all wrapped up and stuff like that. Hey, I want to thank to one of our listeners for sending me this nice hat. It says "Shit Show Supervisor."
Yeah. Look at it. I got a shit show supervisor too. Shit show supervisor too.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool that one of our listeners made the hats. I'm going to figure out how to wear it so it's not backwards. I gotta do a little retooling the
Yeah, what
podcast
it does,
cameras.
they tend to mirror your screen. It all sets on up. When I looked at mine and my camera, it was right, but for
Yeah.
some reason, once you're on air, it's backwards.
Yeah, well, hey, like it's like life. It's like living in the city of Cohoes, man. You're living backwards.
Yeah,
And hey, so Timmy, it's a funny story. Just before the first of the year, I said to you, it's probably going to be quiet. We ain't going to have a lot to talk about. We're going to have to figure out what we're going to do for the next show. I should have known that a shit show never leaves when you live in the city of Cohoes, and there's something going on, right? And
yeah.
this is what I see that's going on. This is what I'm being told.
Up to is called a coup d'etat, which is a French for coup d'etat. Our time for number one, yeah? We the bosses now.
A coup d'etat, Timmy. There's a coup going on in the great city of Cohoes.
I think it's the
And
first time in our 154-year history that a council can overturn a lawful election.
well, here's the funny part, right? So this is what I want to dive into because I think the citizens of the city of Cohoes deserve far better than what's taken place, and I really am shocked, man. I'm flabbergasted because I almost feel like I live in a third world country. Right here in 4 little square miles, we have a police state by King Keeler, and I got a new nickname for the ex-president of the council, which is Bye Bye Billy, and it appears that Bye Bye Billy and King Keeler are trying to get rid of Tom Fife before he even starts on the council. Man, it's egregious. It is the epitome of America to say that we are going to decide for you who becomes the elected officials that represent you. Right? No, it's not, Tim. It is not. That's not America. And
Well,
even here in
Billy's
Cohoes, New
first,
York.
and Billy's first official act when Biggs became president, and then we got Higgins as vice president. Billy's first official act was to raise his hand to go into executive session to get rid of the guy who voted against him.
Yeah, it's crazy. So
It's
I want to
insane.
just kind of give the people who are watching this because I think this is like an explosive situation going on, because I never in my career in politics, I've seen a lot of dirty things, believe me, but I've never seen one man think that he is so important, that he's such a pompous son of a bitch, that he thinks that the will of the people comes second to what he decides what is best for them. And that's King Keeler. This is what happens when you put a state trooper in there who thinks it's a police state, that knows better than you do and knows who should represent you better than you do, and doesn't give a shit what you say. That's the problem that we have, and that's what's going on right now in the city of Cohoes. Let me just give you this little time frame, right? So you got Tommy Fife decides he's going to run for city council, right?
Exactly.
Now, he decided a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And for a whole year, this guy campaigned, right? For a
Yes.
whole year, knocks on doors. Now, forget what's going on for a second, but just remember, he's knocking on doors. He's already a professional firefighter. Spent his whole life and his whole career helping the people in this city. And the people he knocked on, the doors that he knocked on and talked to, the people in them houses, know this man. This man's been to their houses. He's helped them in their worst of times. He's helped them in their best of times. He's a good man. So the people know he's a firefighter. He said, I'm a firefighter. I'm going to stay a firefighter, and I still want to represent you on the city council, right?
Yes.
So a whole year goes by. This guy is running for office. Keeler is his boss. He knows he's running, never says a word. Fod is his boss in the fire department. He knows he's running, never said a word. He's represented by a union. Neither Fod or the mayor ever says a word. This guy works his ass off. He gets elected and wins the primary. Well, let's back up before he's elected. He wins the primary, right?
Yes. Yeah, he did.
The mayor says nothing. The fire chief says nothing. Next thing you know, he's the Democratic candidate. Gil Efier goes and puts a flyer out with all the candidates. Tommy Fife is on that.
Photos.
He's on that flyer right next to King Keeler and Bye Bye Billy, right? Nobody says a word.
Yep,
Then all
not
of
a problem.
a sudden, we start hearing from that wacky woman down the island, this Claudia. And she's saying things that, for me, just the average citizen doesn't say. Even if she doesn't agree with stuff, she doesn't say it the way she said it unless somebody's telling you how to say it. And we'll get into that in a minute. That's why she got the Christmas card.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden you start hearing these little rumbles, right? Not from the mayor, not from the fire chief, but from a couple citizens that are, that they're plants, that they're hired guns.
Yeah, they
And
were.
every time we do a show, that hired gun's on there saying, he can't do this, he can't do that. This is the charter. Like, she would know the charter. She wouldn't know it if it hit her in the head, right? So,
And she's
all of a
wrong
sudden-
anyway.
Right. So all of a sudden, Tommy starts thinking, you know what? I'm going to at least ask. I'm going to at least ask the mayor, and I'm going to ask the corporation council who really runs this city, and we'll get into the Brian Kremer shit in a minute, right? So Timmy,
Go ahead.
they're calling you up. Tell him we ain't got time for him right now. So
Yeah, I haven't got the time for you.
So Tommy writes an email of which you posted on your for people to read. And basically he says, Mayor, I'm hearing rumors that if I take this position, you're going to try to fire me. Can you tell me what your position is? And the mayor writes him back and says, first and foremost, let me congratulate you. The people have spoken. And I don't see anything and any reason why anybody would basically tell you you can't serve, right? And so Tommy then is a little more excited, feels a little more relieved that, they're not going to go after his job and he's going to have to defend himself and fight just because he wants to represent people on the city council. Now, how ironic, about 40 minutes after the email comes in from the mayor, he gets one from Brian Kremer. Now, who's Brian Kremer? He's a hired gun, corporation counsel. He makes $80,000-$90,000 here in the city of Cohoes. He works for the Cohoes Housing Authority. His wife used to have a job. He got his wife a job in a housing authority. He was working in Waterville. He's got a law firm. He tries to steal all the benefits away from the the firefighters, the police, the DPW. This guy has got a boatload of money, and he's here for benefits and to do what he's told, right? So
Yeah,
all of a sudden,
that's
he
what he
sends
does.
an email to Tommy and says, "Hey, Tom, my position is I don't think you can really hold this seat, but it's not up to me. It's not up to the mayor. It's up to the council. The council will make that decision."
Well, he used part of the city charter that says so. But here's his big problem, Sean. In there it says the council, they're in control of their elections, or the judge of the elections, and they decide what the qualifications are for to be a council member. What are the qualifications needed? Can you tell me that?
Yeah, you need to be a citizen. You need to be 21 years old, and you need to live in the ward for which you're running.
That's it.
Okay, so he gets the email from Kremer, which is another bullshit email. It's a lawyer trying to dig up something that he can make an argument out of, and so Tommy's like, okay, so if the council says it's up to them, which I don't believe, you don't believe, and any lawyer
Nobody,
doesn't
no,
believe,
it's not.
he goes to the council, and basically the council says, hey, you got elected, right? At least the president of the council, Biggs and Higgins, from my understanding, you got elected, bro. We're not here. It ain't our job. The people elected you, and let's get down to business,
Yeah,
right?
that's all they got to do is just say, look,
So,
we're not dealing with it.
yeah, right. So Tommy's told, well, you know what's going to happen? If you sign the oath, the mayor's going to automatically make you leave the fire department and fire you, because if you take one office, you can't hold the other. Now, we know that a job and an office is two different things, and we'll get
Yes,
to
it
that
is.
in a minute, right?
Yeah, yep.
So after Tommy gets that email, he's like, well, I guess the mayor's okay with everything. I don't see no problems now. They're telling me there's no problems. I get a phone call from the Gil Ethier that there's going to be a swearing in ceremony. My name's on the list. So he goes, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And who gives him the oath? The mayor, right?
Well, the city clerk first time.
But I'm saying the mayor
official
has him
oath,
sign. He brings him over the
Right,
thing and
yeah.
has him sign it.
Yeah.
The clerk says, hold the Bible. The mayor brings it over. You sign it. And the mayor congratulates him, shakes his hand, and away he goes, right?
Yes, yeah.
So now he's a councilman.
Mhm.
So they have their first meeting. And what's their first meeting? Their first meeting is their own organizational meeting,
Yeah.
right?
Set up their
So
own rules. Yep.
it's their own rules. They set up their own rules. They elect a president, bye Billy, and they elect their vice president, who's going to sit on committees. All of the procedural bullshit, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So the first vote comes up, and it's Billy McCarthy, right? Now, just remember, Billy the lapdog is the only one who voted to give Keeler and Keeler's daughter a huge raise, right? 20,000.
Right. Adam
20,000.
Biggs returned and he didn't vote
That's
for
right. 20,000 for King Keeler,
Mm-hmm.
and 6,000 or 7,000 for his daughter, which was the second time that his daughter got a raise in 4 years. So she's up like 20 grand in
And let me
4
tell you how
years.
bad it really was, Sean, okay? Because Adam Biggs was on the Audit and Finance Committee, okay? All they did is when they got that budget from the Board of Managers, they just did three things. They wanted $1,000 more compensation for the city clerk. They wanted $6,500 for the fire department for them to have better equipment. And they reduced the salary to the mayor $7,500. So what did he do, Sean? He vetoed that budget, not because of the two good things for the fire department and city clerk,
But for the raise,
because he wasn't getting the raise.
because he wasn't
Big
getting the raise,
raise,
and his
right.
daughter wasn't going to get the raise, right? So let's go back to it. So Tommy's got his first meeting.
Mm-hmm.
He goes through all the bullshit. Everybody
Yep.
says he's fine. He goes to the first meeting. And what's the first thing that happens to the lapdog who hands the $20,000 raise to the mayor and cuts it from the fire department and cuts it from the city clerk? He says, I want to be president.
I was there,
and
and let
he's
me tell
second.
you, and I'll tell you right, just what he says, I was president for 4 years. I'd like to continue to serve as president. And he nominated, goes, I'd like to nominate myself for president. And everybody else sat there quiet. And
Yeah.
he finally looks over at Nick and he goes, Nick.
Yeah.
And
So you got Nick Izzo,
Nick
right?
popped
Is
up
that his
and he
name?
goes,
Nick Izzo?
Yeah, nice kid, okay?
Nice kid, but he's exactly what I thought he would be, right? He'd
Yeah,
be the
he just-
puppet. So
I
so
don't, I
it's
don't want to call him a puppet right
well,
off
I
the
do.
bat.
I
He
want to
didn't
call
have
him.
an idea. So
No,
he just
Timmy,
walked
come
away
on,
from it.
Timmy.
Yes.
Please don't tell me the kid doesn't have an idea. Please don't
I
try to
hope
give me the
so.
bullshit. The kid doesn't have an idea.
We'll see.
He's elected to sit on the council,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
And if Bye Bye Billy has to yell over to him, Nick,
Which he
okay,
did.
then that means it was already pre-set up, right? But Nick wasn't quick enough on the draw. So
That's
they'll
all
make
it
a
was.
long story short. It was Nick. Hopefully, puppet for a day. How's that?
Yeah.
And he'll change his ways.
Yeah, and he
Um,
voted, and he was the only when. And then when they did the roll call, Sean, they came to Nick first. And what did he say? McCarthy. And Higgins goes Biggs. Then George Salina, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. He goes Biggs, and as soon as he did that, I knew it was over.
Yeah, so Bye Bye Billy, because he's a lapdog,
Yeah,
and he sold out the city, sold out everybody, so that Keeler could get his big raise, and in return, I guarantee you, Keeler said, "Don't worry, I'll get you to be the president. You'll be the president." Well, guess what? They voted his
yeah,
ass out, so that's
yeah,
why his name's Bye Bye Billy.
yeah. And you know what? Look, he brought Don Russell into the mayor's office the day of the vote to tell him, Russell, just go on up there and abstain because we don't want it being 3-3, and then have the mayor maybe have to cast a tie-breaking vote so that the mayor didn't look bad. So
Yeah,
Russell
so
abstained. You couldn't get a 3-3. Bingo. You saw what happened.
right. So let's keep this timeline going so
Yeah.
people understand, right? So Tommy votes against Bye Bye Billy. Sean Higgins votes against Bye Bye Billy. Biggs votes against Bye Bye Billy, and George votes against Bye Bye Billy.
Yes.
And guess what? Bye Bye Billy.
Was go. Was bye Billy was gone.
Take your lapdog and go home, and because here's what happened: you gave a raise to your buddy, and you lost money.
And right. And he turns around, congratulations, Adam.
Yeah, it backfired.
Where he just took a pay cut.
Yeah, it backfired him, and he loses his money.
For those who don't know, the council president makes more money than the other council members. Okay.
Somebody just said on Facebook, and I don't know who it is, that's not how it works, and I'm not sure what they're meaning. So, hey, whoever you are, tell me what you mean by that's not how it works. So anyway, soon as Tommy and they vote out the Bye Bye Billy McCarthy, the lapdog, soon as they voted him out, Billy says what? I want to go into an executive session, which to the public means there are certain things that you go behind closed doors and you don't talk about in public. It's usually like lawsuits, disciplines, and stuff before it gets to the hearing stages where it's rumors and stuff that can kind of hurt your reputation or your name. If it's out there, a lawsuit or something, before it actually makes it to the courts or to PERB or whatever. And there's other reasons, but basically that's what it's for, right? To protect people and protect the government's best interest before something actually happens, so they keep it private. Hopefully, if it does have to happen, then it becomes public. So they go behind closed doors where they shouldn't have been, because now they're talking about what? Billy McCarthy, the lapdog, calls for it to go behind closed doors because what do they want to do now? They want to talk about Tom Fife being thrown off the council. What? The guy works for a whole year. He gets elected. Everybody kisses his ass. They shake his hands. They put him on flyers. They love him. And then he votes against the lapdog and they want to throw him out. And here's where we're at now, right? They're still talking about throwing him off the council. And the council's not saying it, but King Keeler is saying it. Now, Tim, I want to try to make something very clear. Let's just say, for all intents and purposes, let's just say that somebody raises an issue that procedurally the guy can't serve as a councilman and a fireman, which I don't believe is true, right?
It's not true. No.
And
they got all kinds of problems.
And the city says, you know what? It's coming at us from a whole bunch of different ways. So what we need to do, Tom, is we need to legally find out if you can serve or not. So what we're going to do is we're going to challenge the election, let the courts decide. You'll stay in your seat until we find out whether or not um, you can stay. Sorry, we have to do this. And maybe you can say, okay, let's get some clarification, right? But that's not what's happening. Billy Keeler, and maybe it's not Billy's lips, but Kremer, through Billy Keeler, tells a couple people, well, the mayor's going to fire him because he took the oath. Wait a minute. You told him it was okay to take the oath, you rotten bastard. You tell him to take it, you hold it up for him, you shake his hand, you congratulate him. And then when he signs the paper that he asked you that whether he should sign or not, and you tell him it's okay, then you say, I'm going to fire him because he signed the oath and therefore he violated public officers law, whatever bullshit toilet bowl law that they can make up, right? And that's what they're going to do.
Yes.
And so if you really just cared about some procedural issue, you don't fire somebody. If you're a rotten prick who takes $20,000, who's trying to fire people that have worked in this city for 30 years because they didn't cut the grass fast enough or they didn't agree with him at a meeting, right? If you wanted to be a good man, you'd say, Tommy, we're going to work this together. We're not trying to hurt you. He's trying to steal the guy's freaking livelihood, steal his livelihood, take away his job, 30-year career because this prick thinks he's a king.
Well, here's what I really think that what he's trying to do. He knows he's always got a yes vote with McCarthy. We could say that's true, okay?
Yes.
That's a guarantee. He wants to plug somebody into that 6th ward seat that he thinks he can control with a yes vote too. And then he has no respect for the other council members where Nick Isa or George, okay, or Higgins, one of the other three, he thinks that he could get those other two to do his bidding. So if he can get 4 guys back, like McCarthy had with Briggs, Russell, Alicio, and himself, 4 guys can control everything on the council that they want. Well, that's not what happened in this election. The people spoke, they want change, and they're going to get the change. And I told him at the meeting the other night, the charter is so badly flawed in so many places of it. If you let this thing get out of the hands of the city of Cohoes, you guys are in a world of trouble. And they will be.
Well, here's the bottom line. I told you this before,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
The charter is a paper tiger.
It is.
Every city writes it so it's vague. Every lawyer writes it.
Right. It's a template.
It's a template. Every city writes it vague. Why do you think there's freaking lawyers, Timmy? We have lawyers because nothing says black and white. It's all gray areas, and that's the way they want it. Every mayor, every council person, everybody in power takes that gray charter and uses it for what they think it says. So I don't have a problem with that. That's just the way it works, man.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
I'm not going to change that. It's never going to change because nothing's perfect. But ask yourself the true character of Keeler. Ask yourself what kind of man Keeler is. Ask yourself what kind of guy takes a $20,000 raise, feeds his kids all these raises, and then because the people of Cohoes elect a good man, they elect a good freaking man who served this city far more than Keeler did. Keeler just moved back here a few years back. Okay, this guy was here serving this city, putting his life on the line for this city. And this pompous piece of shit thinks that he can throw this guy out and fire him and take away his livelihood. I don't care if you're a Keeler fan listening to this show or not. You have to think to yourself, this guy just thinks he's God. Because you don't do that to a man, especially when there's nobody raising this issue. Nobody is raising the issue except for the internal workings of a government who wants to have dodo birds instead of critical thinkers on the city council.
Right. Now, I mean, if you really look at the history of the city, okay, I think, Sean, you probably know that this is the first time an elected official with among its own public body is challenging someone to sit in a seat they want. It's never happened before.
I'm gonna correct you. I'm gonna correct you.
When was the last time? Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna correct you because it isn't his own body. Okay? It's the mayor of the city who shouldn't even have his freaking hands in that cookie jar.
That's right. I agree.
It's not the, I don't hear the council screaming. Now, listen, I'm told a few things. I don't know if they're true, right? I think Sean Higgins, stand up man, he's going to support Tommy because he believes the people have a right.
And he said that at the council.
Okay. I think Biggs, I'm going to tell you something. I'd like to sit down and have dinner with him. I'd like to have a drink with him. I think I'd like my kids to grow up like him. He's the nicest guy. He's the most polite guy. He's just he's a good-hearted man. I wish he'd grow a set of kahunas because I just don't see him having the wherewithal and the balls to stand up to anybody. Okay, but he did say that he supports Tommy. So I'll give him that much credit. He should be a little more strong, a little more vocal because he does lead the council. But okay, he is at least saying, I'm supporting Tommy.
And I'd like to see the other council members do the same
well,
thing.
Well, now you have George. Now,
I
known George for a long time. Matter of fact, I was shocked that he ran because he's a real quiet guy, and I couldn't believe that he'd want to get involved in this shit show, right?
Yeah.
But you know, I'm going to say it, and George, if you're listening, you can get mad at me if you want to. You can call me up and have a conversation with me. You can tell me I'm wrong, okay? But I know damn well that Chris Briggs has told people that it's a conflict of interest for Tommy to sit on the council. Now, he can't tell you why it's a conflict because there is none. He can't tell you there's a conflict because the son of a bitch sat on the board, the school board. Why, his wife's a teacher, voting on every raise that went into their pocket to help pay their mortgage, pay for their kids' college, and every other thing, right? Give me a break. Give me a break, Chris Briggs. You got to be out of your mind. You're not, you know what? You walked away. Get the freak out of the whole picture because you've done more to bring the city down than you ever did to lift it up.
And let's remind everybody, okay, when Chris Briggs became acting mayor during the coup of 2019, okay, he never vacated his third ward seat. It sat there open for 5 months. Okay, so wasn't he actually holding two offices?
Look, that whole bullshit to me is meaningless.
Over. It doesn't mean nothing.
I'm just saying that George does not have no knowledge of any of these issues because he's just walking in. He don't know nothing about the charter. He don't know nothing about all of these incompatibilities and all this bullshit. No. There's 1,000 case laws out there. Kremer goes and digs one up from 1995 that says a fireman can't serve on the council because there's, the incompatible conflict.
Well, it was based on the charter in that community.
Exactly.
Not ours.
Plus, we have a court of appeals case that says you can't fire the guy. And the guy from Glens Falls, who was a fireman and ran for city council, held the seat for a year. They fired him. He got all his pay back, and he still held the seat until he said, screw you guys, I'm out of here, right?
And just to touch on that, Sean, this thing with the guy in Glens Falls, this firefighter, it went all the way up to the appellate court of the New York State.
Yes, and they ruled in his favor.
Yeah, and what happened is everybody kept kicking him down. And you know why they ruled in his favor? Is because the city did every goddamn thing they could to get that guy to the point of taking the oath.
Yeah, just like Cohoes.
That's exactly what happened here in Cohoes.
I'm going to tell you something. I'm very proud of Gil Ethier. I'm going to tell you why.
Yeah, he did.
Because Gil Ethier is the Democratic chairman. He stood up and said, Tommy Fife won the seat. He should take the seat and let's move the freak on. I only hope that Gil, if in fact the king decides that he's going to go after a good man's livelihood because he can't get the votes he needs to freak up this city any more than he's already freaked it up, doesn't try to fire this guy. I hope Gil Ethier will spend a little of the Democratic Party's money. That's not his money, the Democratic Party's money, to defend their candidate in court. Okay? Mm-hmm. And that leads me to this, Timmy. I hope everybody's listening. I hope you're paying attention because this is important, right? You have always stepped up. Most of the people that watch this show like us. There's a whole bunch of you that don't like us, so I don't expect that you're going to help us. But I'm telling you that if they go after Tommy Fife, we will have a fundraiser. We will bring in bands and we will have a kick-ass fundraiser to raise all the money we need to take this city to court and let Tommy fight this all the way to the very end. Mm-hmm. And I hope that he can file a federal lawsuit and go after Keeler personally and Bye Bye Billy personally and everybody else that sticks their thumbs in the eyes of the public and says screw you to the voters of this city and says us politicians who stole your right to vote by throwing your candidate out and putting our own in, get sued out their eyeballs. And I will be happy to be part of raising that money for this guy. I've known him for a long time. He's a good man, and he deserves to take that seat and represent the people. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens come the next meeting, right?
Yeah. Yep. Hey, look at everybody that was there. I mean, it was like at least 30 people, if not more. Okay, and you don't usually see that many people at a council meeting, but I think one thing that was clear: Gil Ethier did stand up. I had a heated argument with Gil the night before. I said, "God damn it, when are you going to come on out and publicly tell these people this?" And finally, the third meeting, okay, when they were actually having a council meeting, Gil was there. He was the first one to get on up, and
Yeah, because listen, I've known Gil forever. Like I
yeah,
told you, take the politics aside. One
yeah,
of the best guys you'll ever meet,
yep,
with a beautiful wife, a great family, great
yep,
kids. I'm friends with them all. I love them all. They're good people. Gil has spent. Look, you can
his
always
life,
say that there. You can always say Gil's a player, right? You
yep,
don't survive 40 freaking years in politics without outsmarting people and playing people. But
yeah,
at the end of the day, the guy has tried to help more people. When I was a chairman of the
yes,
legislature, I said, Gil, can you leave some room to help other people? Because I have to represent the whole county. And I'm running out of help here because
yeah.
every day he was coming to help people. And so
And it was you
kudos.
and Gil that saved the nursing home.
Well, kudos to Gil. Kudos
Yeah,
to Gil Ethier for doing what he does. But Gil, don't let these guys step all over this kid. This kid deserves to take that seat. He deserves that seat. Whether you agree or disagree, share your thoughts with us. But I'm telling you, we will raise money for him. We'll have fundraisers for him,
whatever it's
and
going to
and
take.
and we will help him fight this city and protect. Most importantly, I'm not protecting Tommy Fife. I'm protecting the voters. The
Yep.
voters of this city decide who represents them. The voters of this country decides. It's the same thing they're doing with Trump. I don't care if you like Trump or hate Trump, for Christ's sake. But judges and other appointed officials, they don't have a right to decide who we vote for.
Yeah.
That's third world countries. Can you imagine right here in our
Yeah.
4 square freaking miles we got this going on?
Yeah.
And it's all because of Keeler thinks
And
that.
what kicks everybody in the ass, Sean, is this, okay? They let this thing get all the way on up to taking the oath before they even raised a question, okay?
Well, that's the
That is
problem.
so insane.
That's the problem. The thing that bothers me the most is that they allowed this guy to work his ass off and go through all of the processes. They kiss his ass, shake his hand, and then they try to screw him.
Yeah, Sean, I gotta mention one thing that's kind of cute there. We got somebody commenting his name is Be Ready. The time for change is now. Class of 2010 is about to take over. That makes him 14 years old, don't it?
Shit. Well, hey, listen, I
But
get
we
it,
can see
man.
your when people are commenting. We can see your comments, but we just can't get to respond to all of them.
Yeah, that's just
Yeah,
unfortunate. It's great to see that all these people are,
chiming in and tuning in.
chiming in.
Okay, but look at I want to touch back on what Gil did after I had a heated argument. I was so mad at him. I hung up the phone on him. I said, "Don't call me back," and I blocked him off my Fifth Ward page. Right. Then I see him at the council meeting the next day. We're buddies. We've been battling like this for a long time, and then he got up and he stood up to these guys and said, "We're the Democratic Committee. We pushed for this guy. He won the election. He needs to take his seat." And after that, it says, "Gil, you're back. I unblocked you from my page. You're back on."
You're back in the good graces.
Yeah, yeah. So he called me up an hour before the podcast. He said, "You guys going to be doing?" Yeah, I said, "Yes." So anyway,
I haven't talked to him. I really haven't talked to anybody in quite some time when it comes to the politics to me because
yeah,
I've been out of the game for a while.
Yeah.
But the reality is, you know,
Yeah.
the reality is, there's a lot of good people who are trying to do the right thing, and you do the best that you can, right?
Right, and look at. I know we don't want to dive too heavy into the Christmas card thing, but two of the people that went up speaking against Tom, and only two did, were both on the Christmas card list.
So
Okay,
let's just talk about that
real,
really quick, because I
yeah,
do think it matters, right?
yeah,
I really do. I was in politics, and I sent out Christmas cards to thousands of people, right?
yeah,
And I sent them out with my own campaign funds, my own stamps, and and that's how you do it, right? You
yeah,
you have to use your own, because believe it or not, you send out Christmas cards to your political donors, and you send them out
yeah,
to businesses that you're going to try to solicit, because to run for office you got to have money.
yeah,
So the bottom line is, you try to raise money,
and you do it out of your campaign
and you do it
fund.
out of your campaign fund, exactly.
Exactly.
And
Not
so,
this guy.
no, not this guy. This guy decides that he's going.
Well, he did it. Didn't
I just
decide.
got to laugh. I'm just trying
He
not to
did
laugh.
it, right? He took the money from the taxpayer, not just this year, but last year. And he took over $500 in stamps. Did you know that? You know this. The mayor of Gloverville had to resign because he took under $500 in postage stamp from the city clerk. Our mayor did the same thing.
Our mayor has taken city tax dollars,
Yeah,
and he has used those tax dollars to campaign and to send Christmas cards. And you could say, oh, they're Christmas cards. Well, it doesn't matter if they're a Christmas card. It doesn't matter what they are, right?
yeah.
He
Even I don't care if
got
they were
city
a paper
taxpayer
card.
money, and he purchased Christmas cards
Holiday cards,
with his
whatever you want to call
office
it. Right.
on them, and he
And
mails them to his donors.
but they were personalized.
Yes, he mailed them to his donors, to people outside of the city.
Yep.
If
Hmm.
you're going to use tax dollars, then you better send it to the 16,856 people that live in the city, because it's their money.
And look
It's
at
not
Sean,
your money.
right? And I
And
want to
I'm telling you that
clarify
is
something too.
misappropriation of city funds. You
It
can't do
certainly
that.
is. And
How
look
many
at
people watching this show got a Christmas card from the mayor that you paid for?
now
No,
look
they
at
went to people in
yeah,
other parts of other parts of our county. Some of
yeah.
them went outside of our county.
Yeah, yeah. Look at, and let me tell you, I posted that entire list on my page, and I got a few messages from some people that say, "Well, I'm the president of this organization or whatever." And I didn't say I didn't accuse any of the recipients of doing anything wrong. If you got a card, good for you. That wasn't anything that you did wrong. Where the wrongdoing was from the office of mayor using municipal funds for a non-municipal purpose. You got to use government funds for a government purpose.
So basically, what he did is he took Timmy's
Yep,
money, Sean's money, Billy Smith's money, everybody who's talking to us through this podcast's money,
yep,
and
hmm
he takes your money and sends Christmas cards out to all of his friends and donors.
yeah.
I mean, I didn't even have the money to send Christmas cards out. Did you?
No, no,
I'm
no.
glad he could take my money and use it.
And that's what he did.
Okay. And
And
so,
look at I could file a complaint with the ethics board, but they're going to take and throw it right in the trash because
well, let's talk about that, right?
they're terrible.
So let's close out the show with this,
Yeah,
because it's just one other slap in the face, spit in the
mhm,
face,
yeah,
whatever you want to call it, right? So
yeah,
Charlie Valenti, I've known Charlie for a long time. If I'm not mistaken, he was a deacon,
yeah. I
right?
think it's St. Michael's.
So he's a devil dressed in deacon's clothes, because
Yes,
that's
yes,
really what he is. He's always been, sadly, the dodo bird that did all of the shit for every elected official except me, of course.
hmm
and and if they told him to go squat and take a crap in the alley, that's what he would do, right?
yeah,
Because he's just a dodo bird, and so he is now the president. And let me just reverse something for 1 second,
yeah,
because Dave Emanation, I love the guy. I think he's as honest as the day shines. I don't think the man would harm anybody. I think he would always try to do the right thing. But, Charlie Valenti was the head of the Ethics Commission, right?
Yeah.
So he does all of the leading people, and they want to believe in him because good people want to believe that the guy they picked to lead is leading in the right way.
Especially when he's a deacon.
But when he's a deacon, right?
Right.
They probably didn't see the tail coming out from behind his
Right.
deacon cape.
Right, and the horns.
So here's what happens. Charlie Valenti has a complaint in front of him. One of like the Christmas cards.
Yeah.
Where somebody says, Charlie, this is not right. People have been fired for this. Politicians have been fired for this.
Yeah.
He took my money, sent Christmas cards to people that I don't know. He didn't send them to all of the citizens of Cohoes. He didn't do it for a purpose that makes Cohoes a better place. And when you start going through, you find 50, 60 names of people that write him a check for his campaign.
Yeah.
Or their kids, or he gave their kids a job or whatever, right?
Yeah.
That Christmas card comes, and that's the expectation that, hey, I'm going to be sending you a fundraiser. That's what it means. I was there. I know it. So,
and here's how bad it was. Okay, none of the except McCarthy and Biggs, none of the other past council members. That means Briggs, Russell, Alicio, and I can't think of the other one. They didn't get a card. Just new guys. Just a new guy so he can influence the new guys.
It's a joke.
You know?
It's misappropriation of city funds. It should be looked at. It shouldn't be laughed at. It shouldn't be dismissed because it's a Christmas card. I don't give a shit if it's a bar mitzvah card, if it's a congratulations, you had a baby card. I sent cards for everything that you could think of off the list of names I had. If they had a baby, I'd send them a card. If they had a death in the family, I'd send them a card. If they got married, I'd send them a card. Right? Out of my money, out of my stamps, not out of the city's money.
Yeah.
And so let me just say this to you.
I want to finish one thing while you
Charlie Valenti
okay,
takes the complaints, and at the same time he's taking the complaints because he's the head of the ethics committee.
Yep.
He's getting Christmas cards from the mayor.
Yep.
He's taking letters
and
from his wife.
Right.
Now, mind you, nice wife, nice person, cares about the library, but they're advocating for more money. They're lobbying the city for more money. They're lobbying the mayor for more money. Right. And Charlie Valenti, the head of the ethics commission, who's got a complaint in front of him, takes his wife's letter soliciting money, goes to the mayor's office and hand delivers it and says, hey, if there's any help you can give us, I'd appreciate it.
Well, what he did
wink.
Right? He took that letter and hand delivered it during a board of managers meeting, which one of the people that were being complained about was in that meeting. He hands it to him, then says, we're asking for more funds and everything, by the way. And then 3 weeks later, he dismisses the thing against the guy. What do you expect to happen, right?
Yeah, well,
he's going to say, "Oh, this guy, he's not going to get the money."
The guy that's giving you the freaking funds is the mayor of the city, for which you're up there advocating for, why he's being investigated for taking city money and spending it on private use. Then, on top of that, the guy's got workers from the city DPW doing work on his property up there. Yeah. And several years before, Keeler was the head of ethics. Charlie Valenti was second in command, and they suspend Kenny Radcliffe.
Yeah, for
7 days because he sent a piece of equipment to a non-for-profit organization that helps the city and helps them rake up some grass. But but then the same people rule that, oh, that's okay because it was Keeler's house. And let me now we mentioned Kenny Radcliffe. Let me just say, I just want to send my condolences. Kenny Radcliffe's mom passed away, and I actually heard that today was the wake, and I didn't know that until later on. So, or I would have went. But Kenny, for you and your family, my deepest condolences.
Kenny's a great guy.
Yeah, he's one of the best. I think his mom lived to be in her late 90s. I think she had a good life, and I just want from Truth Lies Political Bullshit, me and Timmy and everybody watching, we send our deepest condolences and our love to your family. So. So Timmy, you know, that's where we are right now, right? We still got to find out. We got 2 weeks to find out what's going to happen with the Fife thing.
Yep.
We know that this isn't because there's an army of people, you know, storming the city saying
No,
Fife can't represent us down the island.
At best,
Matter
you
of
get
fact,
two or three people think they
there
can
should be an
overwield the
army of
wood,
people.
right,
There should be an army of people who voted for Tommy up
down
at that
there.
council meeting, pounding and saying, "Who the frick do you think you are? You are
Yeah.
not the king of this city. We elected you to represent us, not to decide who represents us."
Yeah.
Up to is called a coup d'etat, which is a French for coup d'etat.
So, hey, everybody, Sean Morris, and I know you can hear Timmy in the background. He's fading away. It's late, past his bedtime. And on behalf of Truth, Lies, and Political Bullshit, we're going to have a second show. We're going to do 2 segments now. We're doing the segment of Cohoes, the Good, Bad, and Ugly. We're going to be live every Wednesday night. And every Monday, we're going to have a show on called Around the Horn, where we discuss issues throughout the whole New York State that affect us as everyday citizens. So please stay tuned, join our show, get over there, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we really appreciate you supporting us.
So the Around the Horn will be a taped show,
Yep.
which we're going to post on up, and then the live shows on Wednesday. Okay. Thanks for
So,
tuning in.
hey,
Everybody.
Timmy, Happy New Year.
Don't forget to subscribe.
And Happy New Year. And thanks to the person who gave us them hats.
Yep.
I'm going to have my
wearing
hat
mine.
on next week so I can figure out how to get the words so they're not backwards. Because
Yeah.
I know I can't figure them out backwards. I'm sure everybody else will.
Well, that's your camera mirrors. That's all. Maybe that's all you got to do. Change the mirror on your camera.
Yeah, well, hey, I'm going to change. I'm going to change to end broadcast. So, hey, it's good seeing you, Timmy. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We had a lot of people watch tonight,
Yep.
and hope you enjoyed the show. And
Okay,
take
thank you.
care.